Tarkir is a plane that we were so excited to revisit again.
Tarkir brought me back into the game.
Being able to work on such a beloved plane was both an honor and a thrill.
When you come back to a plane after time has passed, clans have grown and clans have changed.
It's Tarkir. It's clans.
Tarkir is epic fantasy action.
Culture brought to life and brought into conflict.
The art, the texture, the world building.
And then also play with some dragons, which are objectively cool, and everyone wants to play with dragons.
The clans of Tarkir took pride in the land that stretched across the wide expanse. From arid deserts to humid jungles and snowy mountain tops that scraped the sky, they lived and fought for territory and influence. But their world no longer exists. It never existed at all. When Sarkhan Vol went back in time to save the spirit dragon Ugin from death by the hand of Nicol Bolas, he changed the fate of this plane forever. As a consequence of his meddling, it was not the Khans but the Dragon Lords who rose to dominance over Tarkir. Under their commands, the people were subjected to the Brood's every wish. This instilled confidence and complacency in the leaders, who saw themselves invincible. Hubris is intoxicating. In time, whispers of uprising moved among the Dragon Lord's subordinates. Memories of the long-forgotten clans were rekindled. Banners of rebellion were raised, and are now blowing in the wind. The scales of power have tipped on Tarkir once more.
When we began our work on Tarkir Dragonstorm, we knew the story was going to take place a few years after the events of Dragons of Tarkir, so our first step was really to fill in the gaps of what had happened in the time in between. We took information and hints from the existing fiction, like Anafenza finding lost kin trees and the Temur Whisperers hiding from Atarka's draconian rule, as the impetus for clan rebellions that had really been brewing under the surface the entire time. The Phyrexian invasion then became the tipping point for the rebellions to gain traction, and the final decisive blow to the Dragon Lords was the summoning of the 5 spirit dragons. Now we have clans that are rediscovering their lost traditions and rebuilding their cultures. They are using the same names, but they're not identical versions of the clans that we saw previously. Returning to Tarkir allowed us to build a deeper and more complex world, as well as address and update some of the more superficial elements that we had seen in previous versions of the plane.
It's been a decade since we were last visiting Tarkir, and we've grown as world builders. There was 2 guiding lights, respect and evolution. We wanted to respect what came before, but evolve the world forward. People are looking to connect with the art. They want resonance, and that can be hard to do if you don't fully understand the cultures from which you're drawing inspiration.
So the goal was to move away from one-note representation. That's useful if you want to describe a group really quickly or in a single sentence, like, that's the Mongol horde, but those kinds of stereotypes get in your way when you're trying to tell longer or more complex stories about that group. The Abzan are evocative of the early Ottoman Empire, the Jeskai have roots in early Ming Dynasty China, the Mardu have deep Mongolian influence, especially from the 12th and 13th centuries, the Sultai take notes from Cambodia and various other regions in Southeast Asia, and the Temur are rooted in the Sakha nation of Siberia. Each of these clans has to inspire years and years of stories, so not everyone in one clan can be the same. Otherwise, you won't be able to tell any more stories about them after you're done. We want Tarkir to persist beyond just this set, and we want the characters and the clans in Tarkir to affect the entire multiverse of Magic, and for that, we need complexity.
The Abzan have deep bonds with their ancestors. They call upon them to aid them in battle and summon them and commune with them through their kin trees. They also name their weapons, imbue them with spirits, and pass them down as family heirlooms. We updated the Abzan's armor designs to really showcase that bond with their ancestors as a sort of ongoing element of their culture, and redid the designs for the kin trees to showcase how they'd been destroyed by Dramoka, but since regrown by the Abzan. We developed and deepened the Abzan religion. Their sort of central belief is this notion of perenation, the idea that every member of the clan has to complete the cycle of life and death and are obligated to ensure that the next generation survives and endures. We see this idea across both the mechanics and the art of all of the Abzan cards in the setting.
The Jeskai live in these amazing monasteries in the mountains of Tarkir. With our consultants, we defined the underpinnings of the Way, the belief that guides the Jeskai. The Way is made up of 3 threads of thought. White is populist, blue is thoughtful and cerebral, and red is internal and monastic. And these 3 threads argue with one another. So there's conflict there. The Jeskai see themselves as Tarkir's history keepers. They have these archives of scrolls stored in catacombs in the mountains. They are studying these new dragons and these worsening storms, and their Waymaster, Narset, has changed as well. In previous sets, she was inspired by a Buddhist monk. In this set, you'll see more of a Taoist influence. Narset envisions and strives for a unified Tarkir.
The Mardu were the thematic core of Khans of Tarkir. In this set, we've updated them and modified them so their military makes sense with their real-world Mongolian counterpart. The Mardu are a nomadic clan, so they're always on the move across Tarkir. Their encampments are mobile. You'll see huge tent-like structures throughout their card art. Everything about this clan communicates speed, agility, and movement. Their armor designs are swept back and aerodynamic. They're expert archers and horse riders. They channel lightning through their weapons. Lightning is a recurring motif in the Mardu. It's visually awesome and creates really evocative and intense designs.
I think the Sultai needed the biggest overhaul from a cultural perspective. The zombies in previous iterations were treated like puppets, but now they have agency. We asked, what if being undead in this culture were an honor? What if death were an accepted part of life, a celebrated part of life? So you're going to see zombie soldiers and dancers with ornate armor and gold dressing with floral accents. These are decorated champions. My favorite part of the Tarkir redesign is the new Rakshasas. Rakshasas originate in South Asian mythology, where they originally appear as evil flesh-eating demons who oppose the great heroes of Indian epic, but over the course of Indian mythology, Rakshasas become complicated and sympathetic and heroic. They're lovers, they're artists, they're religious luminaries, and they do this without abandoning any of their deadly powers or bloodthirst. I wanted to see Rakshasas in Magic as scary and complex as their legendary forebears. This is the redesign I'm most proud of in the set.
The Temur have a basis in the Sakha nation of northern Siberia. They've adapted to thrive in the cold, harsh winters of the northern mountains of the plain. They're hunters and gatherers, and they've formed close bonds with animal companions that live and work alongside them as members of their community. We updated the Temur clothing to incorporate elements from the cultural inspiration. Their outfits include vibrant color and detailed embroidery patterns. The spellcasters can also be identified by moss that grows in the same patterns and glows as they use their magic and become more powerful. The Temur believe in the Endless Song, which is the energy that connects all beings, past, present, and future. This clan is spiritually entwined with the wilderness.
Let's not bury the lead here. This set is awesome. This is everything you want in Tarkir. There are clans, there are dragons, there are Naga and orcs and rhinos. Ugin is here, Sarkhan is here, Zergo is here. Huge Dragonstorms are swirling in the sky. It's all lending to this massive cinematic atmosphere.
So let me catch you up with what's going on in the story. Narset casts this world-altering spell alongside the other Khans, which leads to new Dragonstorms spreading all across the plane. And if you've been paying attention, you know those same Dragonstorms have crossed into other worlds as well. We saw a dragon on Bloomburrow, we saw Dragonfire scouring cities in Duskmorn, a dragon interrupted the end of the Girapur Grand Prix, and was only stopped by the timely arrival of the Archangel Elspeth. Elspeth is concerned, obviously, about the Dragonstorms and is coming to Tarkir for answers. Why are they raging out of control? How can I stop them? How can I stop them from spreading to more planes? More importantly, where is Ugin? It was his job to keep the storms contained to Tarkir. This will be the huge cinematic conclusion to the Dragonstorm arc, but it isn't the end. No, this sets us up for the next arc. I can't tell you what the name of that arc is just yet, but once you see it, I think you'll know why.
One of the most incredible parts about working on this set was just the excitement that everyone had about Tarkir.
If you know anything about me, you know that I am just a fool for dragons. I love dragons.
My team clans or team dragons? I think I'm team clans?
Oh, team clans 100%.
Team clans, absolutely team clans.
I am team spirit dragons paired with their cons.
What is there not to be excited about?
I can't wait to try and figure out how to put all of the dragons into a singular deck.
I'm just excited to get it in the hands of fans and see what they think.
Personally, I didn't get to play the first Tarkir. I started playing Magic after it, so I'm really excited to experience Tarkir as a set for the first time as a player.